Hey everyone, welcome to the 6th round post-fight show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host Eddie Mercado here from BloodyElbow.com. And we are breaking down, recapping this Tough 27 finale card that we all just watched that took, my God, every minute of my life away. Ran an hour over time, featured a ton of low-level MMA that nobody could care less about just because it was people that were on Tough, and so we all
very low level, very sloppy. And honestly, there was a point where like I would just zone out, literally zone out and forget that I'm watching fights. And then, like I hear Bruce Buffer starting to announce, I'm like, what the hell? Oh shit, I'm watching fights. Like, what is this? There's no reason that there should be that much time in between fights and it runs this late in the day. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it was really for a product that has always had pacing problems. Man, this fucking card had all the pacing problems. Just not only a lot of decisions, but because it was tough and they want to tell all these stories that nobody gives a shit about, all this filler in between all the decisions. And just a lot of fights that kind of sucked.
And the decisions were questionable also. Some of them were that the judging was just weird and just weird.
I don't think anybody got robbed, but
I think Matt Bissett got robbed. He won that fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't score the fight for him. I think he if nothing else, he definitely gave a lot of the fight. He gave enough of the fight away that he has nobody to blame but himself for losing it.
No, I get it. But he definitely outstruck dude 2-1. Hands down, like no debating. He outstruck that guy 2-1, but he lost the fight.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not going to say it was. Not going to say he didn't have a strong case for winning. I guess I'm just going to say I don't really give a shit.
See, that's the real answer. Yeah. I think that's the real deal there.
To end the night,
the whole card though, honestly.
Yeah. To end the night, what would have been a really good, quality, interesting, fascinating fight that told us a lot if anybody stayed up to watch it, Israel Adesanya put on his best performance in the octagon so far, beating Brad Tavares. And Brad Tavares kind of showed up with exactly the wrong game plan for how to fight this fight, of just like, oh, I guess I'm just going to try to out kickbox Israel Adesanya for 2 or 3 full rounds. But at the same time, when he did actually try to wrestle, Adesanya did really well to shut him down. And by the end of the fight, especially, showed a really good sprawl, did a really good job steering Tavares off, digging for underhooks, doing the kinds of consistent things he needs to do and that he hadn't shown in the past in open space to stuff takedowns. So really strong, exactly the right performance from Adesanya, and unfortunately for Tavares, the kind of performance that more or less suggests that he will never be the guy who gets beyond the edges of top 10 at middleweight.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly believe that Tavares did the very best that he could. I mean, I think the way that he came out aggressive, throwing his power punches to close the distance. It was looking sharp for like a good 10, 11 seconds. And then it was just, and then like the first round, I feel like Adesanya kind of just, he didn't take it off, but he definitely took a second to settle in.
Yeah.
And kind of see what that top 10 guy's like.
Watching live, I scored the first round for Tavares just because I thought Tavares landed the better punches throughout the round, and he got kicked a bit, but I thought he did well enough and was competitive in that round to steal it. But that was watching live and live tweeting. And whatever.
Fair, so fair. I mean, Tavares came out hot, doing exactly what he should have been doing.
He did his best to fight a kickboxing battle, but it was pretty clear too that Adesanya was just kind of coasting him. As the round got to an end, it was like, okay, Adesanya's clearly found Tavares' timing by the end of this round, and all other rounds afterward were just 100% Adesanya all the way through.
Yeah. He went for that Minari roll there at the end of the first, which was fun to see. Like, I like that. It's like, the round's over. Do some goofy shit to be entertaining, and also, hey, you might actually catch something there.
Yeah.
Which
So
like he did at the end of the 5th round also. Like he
yeah.
was like, you know what? I done beat the shit out of this guy. I styled on him in every way possible on the feet. I hurt him with every part of his body, using every type of technique. Like there was nothing else to do on the feet other than knock him out. Let me go ahead and work my ground game a little bit and see what's up. And he actually finished the fight he didn't finish the fight, but he finished the last round ended with him fully mounted with the guillotine locked up.
Yeah. It was a
So-
nice performance. The only problem now is like, what's the next fight for him? Is it Jacare? Because I mean, the guys above him. I mean, I guess you could do like the winner of Derek Brunson versus Antonio Carlos Jr., but that's not a fight that anybody's gonna be like charged up over. It wouldn't be a bad next
I mean,
step.
I think with Adesanya, though, that's what's so special about him is that no matter who he fights,
Yeah.
people are going to be charged up for it. That's the
Yeah,
beauty
I mean,
of
it would be
this.
nice to see them do, but well, and actually, true. Honestly, he's been pretty clearly angling for the winner of Hall versus Costa, with all the work he's been doing to tear down Uriah Hall.
Yeah, but what's David Branch doing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a real test. Go against someone who a real grappler.
I mean, that's the thing though, is that like all the people that are an actual jump, your Hall Costa winner, your Carlos Jr. Brunson winner, yeah, those are pretty equivalent level of fights. All the people who are an actual like jump up are like another big leap. It's like Jacare, Weidman, Rockhold, Romero. Those are your next people in line.
God. I can't even like fathom him versus Yoel Romero. Like I just see him getting like pile driven into the mat. But I want to see it now. Like the more I think about it.
That's the thing. I mean, and even, Branch is kind of in that conversation too, not as clearly, but that would be, I guess, the borderline of that, because Branch is a very seasoned veteran. He's got a really good top game, and he's lit a couple people up lately. So that might be the sort of borderline test, but Branch is a top quality grinder. So,
and as was mentioned earlier tonight, Kelvin Gastelum's out and Robert Whitaker is out because they're doing the Tough 28 show and will fight for the belt at the end of that.
Yeah.
So those guys are out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of good options. Probably the most exciting thing would be to get him in there with somebody like Jacare or Romero. But the most sensible would be to either give him a sidestep, do Brunson, Carlos Jr., do Costa, Hall, winner, or do Branch, and like just give him a little more time to get in front of people, give him another headlining slot, give him a little more to sell before you start getting him into pay-per-view headlining fights.
This is his trajectory is very similar to Darren Till's.
Yeah.
Like the parallels are uncanny. Just how the dude, he's talking the shit, but then he shows up with this incredible performance tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so unique and it's so special, and he's so crafty, and his misdirection is just top notch. That it's like, man, it's very impressive and it's very unique. And I'm glad that he's willing to take his kickboxing pedigree and bring it over to MMA, where he's obviously not like he's no Damian Maia on the ground or anything. That's for damn sure. I mean, we saw that in the brief moments that he was on the ground tonight. But what he doesn't have on the ground, he more than makes up for on the feet. Like he is seriously next level. Like I can't. Like Robert Whitaker is seriously probably the only guy I think of that can actually stand with this dude and might actually have a good chance of beating him, because everybody else in this division, I feel like they are way too clunky and slow. And like,
well, athletically, Romero might be the one. I mean, because even Whitaker, like Whitaker's had huge problems with Romero standing just for how dynamic he is.
Anybody's going to have problems with Romero. Like that's a given. Like anybody on planet motherfucking Earth, which is why if he's ever an underdog, it's always worth a consideration because he's such a freak. But, he's really. I see Adesanya losing the way that Anderson Silva lost by like being over cocky and moving his head, zigging when he should have zagged, and getting clipped like that. But outside of that, man, I don't see too many people fucking with him on the feet.
Well, you know, I mean, clearly, I'm a huge Anderson Silva fan, so I'm not saying this just like to say it, but Anderson Silva, like Adesanya, as a pure kickboxer, was a much better, like cleaner. He's a much cleaner, more technical defensive fighter than Anderson Silva was. Anderson Silva had a lot of like, I'm going to do some fun, weird shit and get away with it because I'm incredibly creative and athletic, and I'm working, you know, I'm working as a level of striking technique that at the time was just way beyond what everybody else had to offer in the middleweight division at all. But Adesanya has been like a legitimate world-class kickboxer. Anderson Silva was never that. He never had quite that command of ring craft. You know, there's a reason.
But like he did for that
Silva
time until the sport like caught up to him and his age.
Yeah.
The sport catching up and his age catching up to him at the same time was not a good look.
Yeah, there's a reason that when Anderson Silva got old, then suddenly the funky, weird stuff he used to do was suddenly like, oh, wait, that's a really bad idea. But,
well, it's like we knew it was a bad idea,
yeah,
but it's like, oh, Anderson Silva can get away with it. It's cool. Yeah. But then it didn't work, and it's not cool anymore.
So I don't know that it, you know, like there are things about Adesanya that are like legitimately, as a high-level striker, are going to be a really fun to watch as his MMA game comes together. Because the biggest thing is honestly just, you know, how deep, how firmly tested are parts of his MMA game going to be, and who's going to test them at middleweight. And it's down to wrestling depth, because Tavares, you know, he got in on his hips late when he was already exhausted, and then Adesanya did a great job stuffing him. But there was like one moment when Tavares switched from from a double to a single, and Adesanya just dropped immediately and started getting beat up a little, and then he hit that cool Kimura sweep. But if you have somebody like Weidman or Romero or Branch who actually can chain takedowns and shoot continually, then how far is he going to get with that kind of stuff? Those are the kinds of things that have to be rounded out. But what we're seeing clearly from him, especially in this fight, is that his command of kind of like Wonder Boy, and I say he's a much better striker than Wonder Boy in terms of kickboxing resume, infinitely better kickboxing resume. But like Thompson, his kickboxing has translated immediately into successful MMA defense, footwork, and offense in ways that we've seen other guys where it just is like, oh, you kind of look clunky and weird, and I know you're a world-class kickboxer, but this doesn't really look right in MMA. Adesanya has a great sense of distance management and a great sense of what he can throw and when he can throw it to not get himself in trouble.
Yeah, his vision is impeccable. And I think that was like Anderson Silva's biggest thing, is he had the vision. He could just see everything and knew what to do at the right moment.
Yep.
And Adesanya has that, and it's fun as shit, and I can't wait to see him fight again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
He went 25 minutes, you know? Good on him. His first main event, like he didn't falter. He wasn't overcome by the moment. Like the dude knows he's great, and I think he's destined for greatness.
I feel a little bad for Tavares because they even said on the broadcast, like, oh, this is a win-win for Adesanya. And it was also a lose-lose for Brad Tavares. Like, you either come out and you clown this dude instantly, and everybody's like, oh, I guess Adesanya wasn't that good, or he mops the floor with you, and you just lost out on whatever momentum you'd built finally on your way up into the top 10.
Which is actually sad because he was on a 4-fight winning streak.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But he's always bored the fuck out of me. Like, yeah, he scored a nice knockout in his last fight, but he's always bored the fuck out of me. So get him the fuck out of here.
Okay. I don't dislike Brad Tavares with your same, your same emotional level, but I feel for him a little because, I know he's only 30, but he's also been fighting for 11 years now, and it kind of felt a little like it was now or never. Like, you're going to put it all together, or are you going to climb that hill again?
I mean, I never had hopes for him.
I know.
And the fact that I just saw that he was on a 4-fight win streak blew my mind. I was like, how the fuck?
All right. Before that, Michael Trezano beat Joe Giannetti. That fight was terrible. Giannetti clowned Trezano early. The second round was just an awful toss-up of terrible position that Trezano won, I guess, and then Giannetti coasted out a loss in round 3, and we shouldn't care. Giannetti's fight IQ looks like it needs huge upgrades before he can be any kind of prospect at a division as deep as lightweight, and Trezano just looks ultra generic.
Ultra generic versus ultra lackluster.
Yeah.
And low venom.
Yep.
You know, Giannetti, the way he was like floating around the outside trying to snipe, you know, which is cool, and like his footwork was good and all that. But like if you're going to deploy that kind of style, you really have to have the sort of firepower to when you actually do connect, that you either get the respect of your opponent or you damage them in some sort of way, you know, like we saw from Katona, like we saw from Alex Casseras, that then it works. But like just doing that, and you can't be disappointed if you lose a decision like that.
Yeah, and also it's always a bad situation when you're comparing somebody to Alex Casseras and in a negative light. Like, oh, if only you could be as good as Alex Casseras. I mean, you know, like,
it's true.
Giannetti's clearly the more talented dude, but it's gonna like it is, especially it's just the lightweight division. Like if he were a middleweight or something, I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, you can float around that division, climb up, just being a little weird and fluky. You can be Andrew Sanchez out there, just kind of doing your thing and losing fights you shouldn't, but still gaining ground somehow. And in the lightweight division, it's just like he's gonna have to fix that quick, and they're just gonna throw him at, you know, dudes who will grind him down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to climb. None of these guys, if we see them again, well, we'll see Trezano again for sure. But
yeah,
I mean, he basically came forward with leg kicks, and that was like all he did the entire fight. Pressure and leg kicks, and it was enough to get the W. That round 2 was so fucking weird with that awkward like north-south position.
Ass punching.
I hate that shit. They were both just elbowing the thighs of each other at the same time. I'm like, referee, fucking do your job. This is a stalemate. Stand them up, please.
So it's that classic lost in a three-way position where both dudes are suddenly like, whoa, that was supposed to be a woman here. Where are we? What is?
First of all, I have a rule: 1 dick per fantasy. So my 3 ways are 2 females, 1 dude. But, you know, to each their own. Tell me about your 3 ways.
I'm just saying that's the position. You know, it's a 10th planet thing, I'm sure. All right. Before that, Brad Katona beat Jake Cusinello. Katona looks like a decent athlete, but also really raw. Cusinello looks like a completely sub-UFC athlete who had a terrible chin. Like, it was like Cusinello is probably the better striker, and then he was too slow to pull the trigger standing and just got counter-hooked every time he stepped in and dropped, and then blanketed for the last 2 rounds for no fun at all. And it's...
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
I hate when I see guys moving forward with pressure and not throw any volume. Like, that's the worst. I mean, it's like, you're right there.
Walk forward with your chin out, and he's got this stance where he's like got his chin way out there, and it's stiff as he can be, and it's just like you're just walking into a left hook, and that you fall flat on your ass. Okay.
It just... Katona looked great though. He looked very impressive.
Looked great considering, but it's just kind of great considering. Like,
it's not his fault who he's going after there, you know.
Yeah, but he also just held the dude down and blanketed him after dropping him twice, and like he just looks like a really raw, good athlete. Where it's like, okay, and I'm worried that him going to SBG Ireland is not like how I want to see fighters develop. As somebody said, Brad Katona made he's the kind of guy who makes the decision to fly to SBG rather than drive to TriStar.
Well,
I know, but yeah,
I don't know. It was more fun than the lightweight finale.
It was more fun than the lightweight fight, but it was still...
It was like a one-sided fight, like a one-person fight.
Yeah.
Like Cucinello really did nothing except come forward and not punch.
Yeah.
And then just not get up.
I'll be interested to see what Katona does, but you know, it's also that he's what that was the featherweight division, or Yeah, and he'll be down at bantamweight, which I mean, man, that's becoming a really stacked division. Like you know, we're gonna fight dudes like Nathaniel Wood and who else did they pick up recently? Oh, Peter Yan. Like, you know, the bottom of that division right now, it's a shark. It's infested waters, shark infested waters. So
Well,
Shark Tank.
you better believe you're going to see the old SBG shuffle next time Katona comes out there. Unfortunately, but at
Yeah,
least he's built and he's super athletic and he can wrestle. So maybe,
yeah. Maybe he'll somehow make it all work. Who knows?
maybe.
All right. Before that, Alex Casseras beat Martin Bravo, and in true Alex Casseras fashion, he had a clearly overmatched opponent and then almost didn't win.
Classic Casseras performance. I mean, to
Yep.
the T. You know, playing to the level of his opposition. Obviously, Casseras has all the technical depth in the world. Reasonably athletic. He just makes bad decisions when he fights. I almost feel like he doesn't know he's as good as he is. You know, that's like
I
his
don't
just
know. There's something to it because he's
but
like
it's not
slick
just
and
that.
he's moving and he's
It's
flipping
complex.
everything.
Because like he actually hurt dude,
Yep,
but like jumps on the ground with him.
I
You know
know.
what I mean? Like, dude, back up, make him stand up and do
Well,
it
but
again.
then he did that, and it was like suddenly after another round, all the movement just went away, and he's like, "Oh, let's just brawl. Let's just sit here and trade
Well, that
haymakers."
was after he was gassed, but it's like, dude, you probably wouldn't be
Yeah,
gassed if you didn't try to grapple with this guy for no reason. Like you
yeah,
initiated the grapple. Like you're a striker, you can strike all day long. You can even do it when you're tired. We saw that in the third. Like you can grapple tired or you can strike tired. Stay on the feet, bro. But he's just so down to like meet his opponent on on the middle ground and make it always close.
yeah. So I don't know. A meaningless win for him. Another fight where he doesn't look any better, but beats somebody that probably isn't good enough to be there.
How is he still in the UFC too? That's pretty
He's
wild.
always fun. People like
What a
him. People show up to
career.
watch him.
The afro's fun too. It
Yeah.
moves.
For that, Roxanne Mota Ferry got one back against Barb Honchak. Props to her. She won for exactly the reasons I thought she'd win going in, which is that she's just become a busy, aggressive, process-driven fighter who fills all of her fight with offense. And Honchak has she's kind of got that Casseras thing where it's just like, why are you making this decision you're making right now? Like Honchak was clearly landing the cleaner shots, clearly had the better technique, clearly a faster, more natural athlete, and then just kind of threw Roxanne Modafferi on top of herself.
Yeah, not very bright. And man, this fight was fun for me. I actually enjoyed this
Oh yeah,
because Modafferi with her classic Keith Jardine inspired stand up is just she's just I like her. I like
yeah.
rooting for her because she's like a classic underdog. Like she's not, overly athletic,
She's
but
underly athletic,
if you want to
severely.
be if I was trying to be nice about it, but yeah, you're right. But she's like super skilled and chock full of effort and just goes for it. And I
Yep,
love that.
yep.
And it worked out here. She comes out looking all sketchy on the feet, gets pieced up, gets the takedown, tries to pass half guard, but she couldn't actually.
Yeah.
Like Honchak actually had a really tight half guard.
No, Honchak's good. There's
It was
there are no
surprising.
skill gaps in Honchak's game. She just checks out.
But what I really loved was the mid-fight adjustment. So
Yep.
Modafferi comes out in the second round, gets the takedown. She hits full mount, but Honchak regains that half guard, right? So Modafferi is like, okay, I've seen this movie. Instead of just working really hard to pass, I'm just going to start pounding the shit out of you. And that's going to open up the pass. And it did. And then she went right to full mount, start dropping those bloody elbows, and got herself a TKO victory. I thought it was pretty badass.
Yeah, no. Quality win for Modafferi, and especially in a division with that still has a ton of really raw talent in it. She's going to be a challenging out for a lot of fighters who are either like Honchak, just kind of aging out of the sport, or like, we saw just before that with De La Rosa and Ostovich, just not very good yet at all. So
yeah, excellent, like a prospect killer.
Yep. Before that, Alessio Di Chirico beat Julian Marquez. Scored the fight for Marquez, but I have no problem with Di Chirico winning. It was a close back and forth fight. Both guys landed punches in every round, but both guys got hurt at different points in the fight, and Di Chirico got a few takedowns and some positional advantages here and there, and it's just a close, fun back and forth scrap.
Yeah, but the first round was really fun for me. It was like this weird, like slow-paced, like calculated one-punch brawl. Like they would just calculate their way into throwing one single haymaker, and it would land, and then the other guy would do the same thing, and it would land, and then they hurt each other, which was super fun. But then the fight got weird when Marquez kind of does his little Terminator thing and just like marches forward, and he's just. I mean, Di Chirico was throwing everything at him, and he was hitting him like he was fighting going backwards, but like Marquez was just eating him and just marching through everything to throw his own power.
And it's kind of for Marquez, like it's a really good thing to see this fight out of him, where he fought slow and patient and stuck to a plan and didn't just brawl his way into being exhausted instantly the way he has in every fight in the past in his career.
He did miss weight for this.
He did miss weight
by 4 pounds.
He also, it does make me it does expose kind of what I was worried about anyway, that like there's still a big hill for him to climb in like fixing his fight IQ away from a guy who just is so aggressive that he can't control a fight into somebody who fights a careful, controlled fight. Like even this as a controlled performance was still kind of a mess of a fight.
It's like that. It's that regional aggression.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think if he smooths that out a little bit, which he showed a lot in this fight.
He's working on it, clearly. It's just,
when he gets tired, his instincts come back out.
Yeah. How it's a question of how many times is he going to lose fights he could win because he's trying to work that out. And this is one of them. Before that, Montana De La Rosa beat Rachel Ostovich, and similarly, this was actually a much improved showing from De La Rosa. It was a boring fight, really not fun at all to watch until the third round when they actually started grappling.
Right.
But De La Rosa definitely went from being a complete technical mess of a fighter who just threw whatever at any time and just scrapped and brawled and got hit really hard and got into terrible positions and then fought her way out of them into a very careful, slow-paced, check your aggression, pick your spots fighter who picked up a nice late rear naked choke win in a fight that she was winning anyway. So
yeah, she was real reserved on the feet. She took the center. She threw her jab out there every so often, just kind of keeping the distance. And Ostovich, really slowed out of the gate and started picking it up there in the second round, started connecting with those punches she was leaping in with. And then the third round was actually really exciting, like you were saying. So De La Rosa is holding Ostovich up against the cage, and Ostovich hits the Granby roll and takes the back. And I'm like, oh, shit, here it comes. And then De La Rosa sneaks out, and she takes the back and starts dropping elbows and gets the choke. Pretty cool third round.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm wondering now too, thinking about this women's flyweight division with what's the name, Mota Ferry winning that fight over Honchak, that kind of puts her like right up at the top of the division, because Honchak was what, seventh, I guess,
and Mota Ferry was eighth.
So question is, like, what are they going to do with her next? Is she going to try and fight somebody like she's already fought Sahara Eubanks, but like, I don't know. I guess they might pick her up against the winner of Chukagian versus Davis or something like that.
Who just beat Lauren Murphy? Or did Lauren Murphy win?
Lauren Murphy got beat by Eubanks.
Okay.
Eubanks beat her on the show.
But Eubanks, isn't she fighting Montano next?
No, Montano's going to fight Shevchenko. Isn't that the fight that's coming up in the
Okay.
Yeah. But
which I'd rather see that anyways.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, Shevchenko just needs
Or
to.
is that confirmed?
No, it's like been in talks. I don't think the bout agreement's signed yet, but I think that's like the UFC's putting that fight together, and I don't think they're going to give Montano a different fight.
Mm.
The only thing is Shevchenko might have to take another fight if Montano is just still injured.
I think Eubanks, because she's only 4-2, I think that's an excellent test. It's like, okay, get through Mota Ferry, and then you got this.
Do a rematch of their, because they fought on Tough, I think, where Eubanks beat her, right?
Was it? Did they fight already?
Pretty sure. Unless I'm just. Yeah, she beat Mota Ferry in the fight in the final round
against her. Okay.
So,
do you know anything about that fight? Was it any good?
It was not bad. It was pretty back and forth. Eubanks just kind of out-athleted her.
Worth seeing again?
Maybe. Anyway, just kind of thinking about that before we dive back down to more tough fights.
Oh God.
Luis Pena beat Richie Smullen. One of probably the biggest bright spot of this whole tough season. Pena looks like a very natural, controlled fighter out there. Got taken down a few times being over aggressive, but that seems like aggression that he can dial back a little. And then it was a welterweight fighting a featherweight, but he still took Smullen's lunch money.
So. Yeah. And when he did get taken down, he showed off some funky jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like he locked up this one thing. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what to call it. So I don't know. Super crafty. It was beautiful. Yeah. And then on the feet, he was like super smooth with the hands. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's got a really nice delivery standing. He's definitely the most well-rounded and athletic seeming fighter to come off this tough season. Just got injured out of the runnings over the course of it. But
Violent Bob Ross.
Yeah.
What a cool ass and suiting nickname.
Great showing for him. Before that, John Gunther fought Alan Zuniga in a horror show of a terrible fight.
This was boring and sloppy.
Yeah, a featherweight fighting a bantam. I mean, there are flyweights bigger than Alan Zuniga in the UFC.
This was like light heavyweight awful.
Yeah.
This was light heavyweight sloppy. But like usually when they get sloppy, it at least gets fun a little bit.
No,
these guys were just like god awful. I was surprised. I can't even believe that they put this on UFC. Like this is.
Yeah, well, Zuniga was a really weird pickup for this tough undefeated season anyway. It's like, he's 13-0 fighting out of the Costa Rica regional scene. And they give him a spot as a lightweight on tough, and he's 5'7". It was just, people were picking him to win this too, based off his record. And it's just like, the dude ate Mickey D's for 2 weeks just to make lightweight. Come on.
Well, maybe it wasn't on his record. Maybe they were just picking against Gunther.
Well, that could be too, but like Gunther's at least featherweight sized.
Like this belongs on the Depressed Us.
It does. It'll be on there. All right. Before that, Bryce Mitchell beat Tyler Diamond. Close back and forth fight. Not really that interesting. Diamond probably like.
I liked the fight. I thought it was a good fight.
Yeah, both guys had an argument to win. Mitchell just got more aggressive, stayed more aggressive in the earlier rounds before, and Diamond couldn't get to his takedown top control game until late in the fight. So,
yeah, and the scorecards were really weird. Like it was 29-28, 29-28, and then 28-28, which I don't.
Somebody gave Diamond a 10-8 round 3.
How? Like how?
He was dominant, but it was just positional dominance. It wasn't
That's what I mean. He wasn't like pouring on the punches. No. There wasn't damage. He wasn't close to finishing. No sub attempts. Like 10-8 is disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, Mitchell, I don't know. He's fun and aggressive and whatever. A lightweight that doesn't seem like he's going to last in the lightweight division, but maybe. And Steven Peterson beat Matt Bassett.
Is he a lightweight? I thought this was at featherweight.
What? Oh, no Mitchell Diamond?
Yeah, that's a featherweight fight.
Was that a featherweight fight? Oh, okay. Well, It doesn't change my feeling that Mitchell's not going to last at featherweight either.
Fair enough.
But whatever. Before that, Steven Peterson fought Matt Bessette. You feel ways about that? I don't really.
I mean, I like Matt Bessette.
I do too. Seems like a nice dude.
Cool dude. I think he won the fight. He outstruck the guy in rounds 1 and round 2. Clearly, third round, he definitely gave up. It was a 10-9 for Peterson, of course. I don't know how the second round was scored for Peterson. I'm sure the first round was not scored for Peterson. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I had 1 and 2 for Bessette. He was piecing dude up. Like, I can't ignore a guy slipping punches and ripping punches and connecting.
Fair enough.
Fuck it.
I don't care enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just,
you shouldn't.
No.
Like, you shouldn't care about this card outside of the main event, honestly.
Before that, Gerald Meerschaert. I do care about this first fight a little. Jared Meerschaert beat Oscar Pichota. Real prospect killer win for Gerald Meerschaert. Just got Pichota like 10-8 of him, beat his ass in round 1, and then gassed himself doing it. And Meerschaert stormed back and absolutely stomped him in round 2 to get that rear naked choke. So
that had to have been the game plan. I mean, Meerschaert flubbed his way through that first round. Like, he was so passive and lackadaisical. Like, he was not exerting any effort, and then came hard there in the second round and really stormed the castle.
Yeah. So solid prospect killer win for Meerschaert. Pichota, tough setback. Kid's got some skill clearly, but
and a chin. That dude is tough.
Yeah. He's tough as hell. He's a good grappler. He's a good wrestler. He's a good striker, but his game's still kind of disjointed, and he, didn't manage his offense. He didn't manage his gas tank well at all. So,
yeah. And Meerschaert is so good on the ground. And it's like, I was a little surprised at how hard Pichota was going for everything on the ground, really.
Yeah.
Like, everything was just 100%. And it's like, dude, you can't, at this level, you can't just expect to roll through people like that. Like, if it's there, it's there, but you got to learn to when to use that aggression and use that adrenaline and really go for things.
So going back up to the top, Israel Adesanya, really impressive. Rest of this card, totally forgettable. On that note, I think we're gonna sign out because I can't. It's too fucking tired. It's too fucking late out here.
Dude, you're on the West Coast. It's 2:30 in the morning.
Look, I don't want to talk about what crazy shit you're living. So
it's Saturday morning for me. Like, cartoons are about to start.
You can find Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. You can find both of us over at bloodyelbow.com. Give us a like. That's a thumbs up down there on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com, DOTCOM, all spelled out. So you find all the latest Bloody Elbow shows, analysis,
news and analysis.
What?
It's news and analysis.
News, whatever. And we will be back tomorrow night for another 6th round for UFC 226, which will be a much better card, if for no other reason that it is significantly shorter and pay-per-view doesn't have nearly as many commercial breaks.
And the fighters are way better, too.
Well, yeah, and the fighters are way better. We won't forget that part. But I'm just saying, even baseline, it has the quality angle covered just by being shorter. That's all.
The UFC owes us an apology for this card, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you soon.